Hey guys, welcome back to Hammer Down Pros tabletop reviews. And real quick, a friend of mine found out I was doing the videos, and he's a cool dude, Rob. Shout out to Rob. Rob, what's up? Rob says to me, well, I have some, yeah, so you do knobs, huh? I said, well, yeah, Rob's real. Rob is not really a expressive or emotional guy. He's kind of like real straight-laced. He's like no delivery. It's just plain. And he's like, so I have some suggestions. He made a couple suggestions for videos that I should do about knobs, and a couple of them was just out there. I'm not even. But at the end of our conversation, he leans over, and like I said, this guy, he's like no humor, just real. What about zombies? And I said, what? He said, what about zombies? I said, Rob, I do real world reviews of knobs, affordable stuff, and like, you know, real world applications, fishing, hunting, stuff like that, self-defense, maybe protect. He said, yeah, but what about zombies? That's how he said it. That's how he said it to me. So, because I want my viewers, you know, my base to be diverse, and I'm open to a lot of different stuff. I want them to be nuanced, but at the same time wide open, and I want them imagination. I want us to have fun. I want us to, you know, we could do these hypotheticals. I agreed. I think we should understand it. I mean, nothing is impossible anymore, right? It's probably improbable, but what about zombies, as Rob said? Or as Rob said, what about zombies? What about zombies? So this is Rob's zombie knife video part 1. So we're going to do this. We're going to run it. But if we're going to do it, we're going to do it hypothetically and scientifically, okay? So here are the parameters for our zombie knife video, or more specifically, our zombie knife. It has to meet these requirements. These are the parameters, okay? You ready? The blade has to be at least 6 to 8 inches long. The blade width has to be no more than 1.5 inches. The reason why those two lengths is because if we're talking about a hypothetical zombie situation, stabbing into the zombie's brain, 6 to 8 inches for the blade to penetrate the skull or the eye socket, and the blade width of 1.5 inches, we're talking about the diameter of an eye socket. So we all seen Walking Dead, we all seen zombie movies, Day of the Dead, whatever, you know, The Last of Us, Leto shows, by the way. And I am a zombie fan. I'm a zombie movie freak, by the way. So that's why we have those lengths. Okay, moving forward, the knife has to have a durable and substantial guard. Prevent your hand from slipping up on a grip once you engage the zombie. Okay, if serrated, it has to be minimal serration. That means the smaller ones, the less pronounced ones. Okay, no spine serrations or sawback, preferably no spine serrations or sawback, or minimal spine serrations or sawbacks. Okay, and finally, the point or the tip has to be durable and sharp for penetration. Skull of the zombie, eye socket of the zombie, because this is what we're going to go. We're going to do it. We're going to do it right. We're going to have fun, but we're going to do it right. So to get right to it, in front of me, and oh, by the way, these are only knobs that are in my collection that are accessible right now. I have some other stuff in storage, but this is what was accessible right now. Sort of like as if the zombie outbreak were to happen right now, zombie trying to come bite your eyelashes off. Okay, boom, is what I have. So we're going with what I have right now in the collection, accessible to me. Deal. So here we go. Under this tile are the knobs that are actually the also rans that are in the collection. They're the runners up. They were close, but they didn't make it. They came very close, but they didn't make it. So without further ado, bam, okay? These 4 knobs came very close to making the cut, but again, they didn't meet our parameters. So we'll run through them real quick. We'll identify, we'll point out the things that they didn't make it, the reasons they didn't make it for, and we'll move forward. So the first thing we have here is the cold steel thrower. You would think it's perfect for stabbing zombie eyes and brain pans, whatever, but again, it doesn't meet our parameters. It has the width, it has the length, right kind of steel, right kind of point, but it doesn't have what I consider a substantial grip, and it definitely doesn't have any hand guard. And as a plus, there's no lanyard hole to weave in what would be the continuation of this 550 cord, which would give you a nice lanyard to keep the knife in your control if you did lose grip, or lose handle on the grip. So the cold steel thrower, although nice, and you know, if you didn't have anything else, you would go with it, but for our intents and purposes, no, the cold steel thrower doesn't make it. The next knife is the Glock knife, as they say. The grip disqualifies it because it's not textured. Although it's bowed, it doesn't really feel as secure as the other grips that are in the collection. It really doesn't. It doesn't feel like it's going to like help me keep purchase on the knife for the kind of use we're using it for. It has a small guard, which is fine, and it's okay, but it doesn't meet the requirements when it comes to the not having a sawback. So the grip disqualifies it in my eyes, and the sawback disqualifies it. I mean, if you didn't have anything else, you could use it. And I know people are saying, well, wait a minute, I still think that would be, yeah, but no. And if you never held a Glock knife, and if you felt this texturing or lack thereof, you would know what I'm talking about. So the Glock knife, in my book, doesn't make it in my question. Now here we have the Cold Steel Outdoorsman Light. The Outdoorsman Light is a good knife. It meets a lot of the requirements. The grip is okay, although it doesn't have, it's textured, but it doesn't have what I would say 100% grip, where I would just feel 100% secure. And the guard is almost non-existent. In the case of doing bushcraft work or whatever, I think it would be fine. But when it comes to stabbing, you would want a little bit more there. I'm doing it right there with my finger. You would just want a little bit more there. Now, it does have minimal serrations on the back, or minimal sawback, but what I think that really is for, since we're talking about it, is for when you choke up to do bushcraft work. That's where your finger would go, and that's exactly what that's for. That's not even a sawback for like grinding down fat wood or chewing up fat wood for fire starter or anything. That's what that's for. So perfect knife for bushcraft, but not going to make it when we talking about our zombie knife. And finally, last but not least, this is the one that broke my heart, because in any other situation, this would be a go-to for me. The SOG SEAL Team Elite. Now, several things qualify it and several things disqualify it. First of all, it has a great grip, lanyard hole, and it has a small striker in the back, which is a plus. So lanyard hole and the striker. The grip is fantastic. First of all, they have this SOG has this textured grip in there, which is crazy. You can't even imagine how it really, once you choke up on it, it's like the more you choke up on it, the more firm it gets in your hand. So they did a great job with that. And the grip actually helps the fact that it doesn't have that great of a guard. Again, one thing might not disqualify the knife, but several things do. And in the case of other knives, having a small guard, but not having a lanyard to help with the grip, and then have that extra, loop of lanyard around your hand, will automatically disqualify the guard, that's not what did it with this in and of itself. With this, it was the fact that it has that small guard, and it also has serrations. They're not really pronounced, but I would say medium. They're medium. And it also has a full line of ridged or sawback along the spine, like all the way to the tip. It's sawback. So, and it has this crazy blade that actually waves and ebbs here several points in the spine, which would, we're talking about zombie protection, quote, and you would go in and want to withdraw. And the shape of the blade itself with these two ridges, and the full sawback, and the serrations, and the minimal guard, even though I love her, we got to be fair. We're not talking about combat here or regular combat here or regular tactical here. We're talking about a zombie knife. So we have to disqualify it. Again, if I had nothing else and I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it, I would have this, prefer to have this instead of nothing. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about what's in the collection that meets the parameters for what we're doing. We're doing it scientific, hypothetical, but scientific. So that's not going to do. And she doesn't make it. It's my baby, but she doesn't make it. Now that we've done that, that's part one. This one's done. Tune in for part two of Rob's zombie knife vid. And I'm going to do that. And guys, click on that right now. Thanks for watching part one. I hope you tune in to part two. And we're going to have in part two the winners, the ones that actually made it out of my accessible collection. And then finally, what I consider to be my choice amongst my collection as the zombie knife. Okay, see you guys on the next vid. Peace.